Hi. So we've looked at what is gaslighting and why people gaslight or who gaslights. And now we're going to look at who gets involved with somebody who gaslights. Like, who is the person who gets gaslighted? So let's take a look at this and see why it happens, or why we get involved with people who gaslight us. All right. So who are these people who get involved with people who gaslight? Firstly, it's empaths or highly sensitive people who can feel the energy of others. In family systems therapy, often they describe how one person absorbs the energy of everybody and gets scapegoated because they act out all the emotions of everybody else, the things that nobody else will feel. And that's similar in gaslighting. So you'll have somebody who's not willing to feel their own emotions because they weren't taught that in childhood. They don't know how to process emotions. So they try to repress them, make other people wrong for communicating them. And so empaths who feel other people's emotions will say, hey, I'm feeling this, or I'm experiencing this. And the person goes, well, you're crazy. That didn't happen, or you shouldn't be feeling that. And then it really sort of plays on your mind and makes you feel like you're going crazy. It's often people who people please, who really overfunction and try to get scraps of love. And so when somebody is denying or making their reality wrong, they feel like they have to work harder to get love. And so they might acquiesce or stop sharing what they think or feel because they get made wrong, and so they silence themselves, and then that sort of controlling behavior continues. So when you're feeling other people's emotions and you can feel and see things that are happening, and you want to share it to get it clear so that you feel more comfortable in yourself, but then the other person denies it, it becomes so discombobulating in yourself, because then you don't know how to trust yourself or feel right in your own body. And so often people who gaslight will do it to people who don't know themselves, or don't know a lot of, have that boundary of, this is what I feel. You're not going to make me feel wrong about my experience, my thoughts, my reality. And they have a boundary and the sense of self, like, I know who I am and I know what I feel. When we have that distortion of, no, what you feeling and thinking is wrong, the folk who have a strong sense of self are able to go, no, I know I'm right, and I know this is what I feel, and I know this is what I think. And so those people who don't quite feel the sense of self, because maybe they didn't have a parent who was interested in them as a child a lot, so they don't really know what they're into. They might have had a parent who was really controlling, and so they're used to other people telling them what they think or feel. Or maybe they had a parent who had complex attachment, who might say, come here and love me. Oh, why are you doing that? And it creates that discombobulated thinking where you don't quite know what's going on and it feels overwhelming. So the person is programmed for that energy, that sort of this come here, you're wrong energy. And gaslighting is very similar to that, where you share what you feel and you're made wrong for it. And it follows that if you had a parent who had complex attachment, who would say, come here, I love you. Oh, you're hugging too tight. Oh, I don't really like that. Then you are primed to be with somebody who gaslights, because that's a very, very similar energy. And when you've had that experience of a parent who's overly controlling or very passive and neglectful, or complex attachment, you often feel like you're not worthy, you're not lovable, so you doubt who you are a lot, just naturally because of that parenting. And so then you end up in a relationship with somebody who doubts or questions or makes you wrong for what you think or feel. It leaves the sort of insecurity when you've had that childhood where you look to others to get confirmation of what you feel and what you think and what you believe. And when you don't get that, you doubt yourself even more. So it makes you quite easily to manipulate by other people because you don't have that grounded sense of self. And I'm going to be doing a little mini workshop called The Love That You Needed, looking at what was the love that you needed at each stage of development that would grow your sense of self. And if you didn't have that then, not necessarily because your parents were abusive or neglectful, but they might have been going through job loss or a death and were grieving, and they couldn't notice what you needed at that time. So you struggle to get your sense of self because you lost in yourself. Well, I'll be doing a mini workshop on that. Just let me know if you want the details for that. It's going to be coming soon. All right. When you've had that situation where your needs aren't met and things don't go right for you as a kid, you grow this sense of learned helplessness where you just feel like, oh dear, the washing's out and it's getting wet. It's just started raining. But you feel the sense of learned helplessness where you just feel like you can't cope with life and whatever you do is wrong. And so you feed into somebody who's gaslighting that energy because what you think is wrong, what you say is wrong. And so it silences you because you're too scared to take action because you might get it wrong, to say what you think because you might get it wrong. And so it leads to more and more this sense of being trapped, which is why people end up and struggle to leave relationships where they are gaslighted, because they just grow that sense of learned helplessness and an incapacity to believe in themselves and take action. And when they're feeling that level of vulnerability, confusion, helplessness, they really struggle to get safe in themselves. So they're reaching out to other people like, this is what I feel, and think, well, you're wrong. And so it makes you feel even more insecure. So we're going to look at in another video what you can do to help yourself grow a sense of self. I'm going to do that in a mini workshop. Let me know if you want that. But I'm going to teach you a little bit on how to deal with the gaslighting that you're experiencing so you feel more confident and secure in what you're saying and what you're feeling. So I've got another 3 or 4 videos on this series of gaslighting. And let me know if you're interested in getting the love that you needed in childhood workshop, and I will send them out to you. All right, I'm sending you love, and I hope that was helpful.